I think that anybody who's watched my channel for a while can see which ones I'm going to vibe on. Yes, nectar. All day long nectar. What's up, guys? Welcome back. So, I talked about this in my last video, and I did not think that this video was going to happen this soon, but all of this stuff just came in the mail. I've had a chance to play with all of it. Yes, today is the day. We're going to be doing a full face of Daniel Sandler makeup. If you guys are unfamiliar with Daniel Sandler, I did one video earlier on my channel of just the watercolor blushes. It was called like Daniel Sandler watercolor blushes, the only blush you'll ever need, because it was literally that quick of a love affair for me. I'm big on blush, and Daniel Sandler is apparently known in the makeup artist community as the patron saint of blusher, or blush as we call it here in the States. So he actually reached out to me on Instagram. I paused to fangirl a little bit from his personal account and asked if he could send me anything to try. I basically said the first thing that I definitely wanted to try were the watercolor gel cheek colors, and they are very different from the original watercolor cheek colors. So I'm excited to show you guys how those compare. And there are also some of his waterproof eyeliners. He also sent me a few more of the watercolor liquid cheek colors that I didn't have in my collection. Some of them are kind of highlighty, and I'll be showing those to you today too. And then he sent through the Radiant Sheen Illuminating face powder, and this is so multi-use. So I want to try and cram as many of these on my face today as I possibly can. So I'm going to do kind of an all nude look, you know, playing with the colors that you would expect to see on my face. Blushy tones, tan tones, just kind of staying in like the shallow end, the safe end, I guess you could say. And then I am going to kind of layer on top of that with some of the slightly wilder colors and get a little bit more of like a punchy, colorful look out of it to close the video. So I'm going to move you guys in. We'll get to putting this makeup on my face, and then I will give you guys my final thoughts on all of these products. So in my last video, the M Cosmetics video, I mentioned that this order was coming through, and I was so pleased about the excitement that I got from you guys, and that I have so many people who share my love for blush, because there are so many different kinds of blushes out there. And I feel like a lot of channels focus on a lot of different things. You know, some people got their eyeshadow, some people are about complexion and things like that. And I love all of it, but blush is the thing that I always come back to as, I don't know, it's just like the thing that you can change any look with. So I'm actually going in with the Supergoop CC screen. It's like a tongue twister. And this is not my first time using it, but it's my first time using it on camera. This is their new reformulated version of it, and I got it in the shade 105N. And it's a weird formula, guys. Like, it's definitely way different from the original. But this one, they have improved the shade range. The weird thing about this is when you put it on your skin, it curdles initially, and then it goes cool, and then it thins out and you can spread it. But it's a funky feeling formula at first. So I'm actually going to also go in with some color corrector here. We are gonna go for a powdered look today, even though these are cream blushes, just because I wanna show you guys the versatility of them. They really do work just as well on top of a powdered look as they do if you just wear it on top of a dewy, unpowdered face of makeup, which is how you would expect to use most like liquid blushes. So like I said, I have done a video on just his regular liquid blushes in the past, and there's no secret about it. They blew my mind. They're really pretty. They're very easy to work with, and they're super economical because they are highly concentrated pigment, and it just a little goes a long way. I always try and seek out makeup artist owned brands. I haven't tried anything by Makeup by Mario. I did order his new lip gloss because I was curious about it, but his eyeshadow colorways, just the ones that he has out so far, don't really like pique my curiosity. And it's like he separated out the nudes and the metallics, and I was like, would have liked them together. And that is personal preference. That's not a criticism. It's just like I probably would have been more likely to buy one had there been more of a variety in one palette. So I ended up going for his lip gloss just because I want to know. I also want to know if it's better than the KKW by Mario line, which honestly wouldn't be saying much because I did not like that line at all. Going to powder this a little bit with my Hourglass powder. This was also in my Sephora recommended. It's just the one that I feel like works in the most use cases. He's stretching. I just dropped a ton of makeup like off the side of my desk because I am an organizational disaster in this room. And I look over and the baby's just like, and I was like, okay. He's so chill. The Hourglass does, and I say this all the time, it does have a little bit of coverage to it. I feel like it kind of increases the opacity of anything that you put on your skin, and I feel like it's almost unfair to use the Hourglass powder in a wear test, like a foundation wear test, because it steals the show. It's gonna make anything look good. All right, just for context, I am going in with the Charlotte Tilbury, her airbrush bronzer. Now, Daniel Sandler does have other shades of his watercolor that do pull a little bit more like a bronzer, but I wanted to just use the ones that he sent me today, and I wanted to start with the gel cheek color and then layer on the watercolor cheek color on top of it, and so that's why I am starting with just a powder bronzer. It'll make sense soon. The first thing that I'm going to do, since he sent me all 4 of them, is swatch the watercolor gel cheek colors for you guys. Obviously, these were kind of the star of the show today. And I'm so glad that he sent me all of them because I truly would not have been able to decide. Here we have Petal, Mango, Berry, and Nectar. Petal, Mango, Berry, Nectar. And we're just gonna whoop. Wow, khaki, so profesh. Yeah, I think that anybody who's watched my channel for a while can see which ones I'm going to vibe on. The mango shade is probably going to be like the wildest one as far as my skin tone is concerned, but it's going to flatter deeper skin tones really, really beautifully. This is Petal. Y'all know that that's where I'm gonna be starting from. Honestly, Nectar is like incredibly beautiful. We might actually like, I don't know, we could probably get away with both of those. And then Berry will be the pop because that is the most like Nordic Child Running Through the Fjords situation I've seen in a long time. So let's go ahead and do it. And as you could see with those, and you'll see as I'm putting them on my face, they are a lot more opaque and a lot more, I shouldn't say matte necessarily because they all dry down. That's actually what's really, really fantastic about these is that they dry down to a powder finish, which is like the issue that I had with the M Cosmetics color drops was just that they stayed tacky, they stayed dewy, and it really does remove use cases from your repertoire, whereas this I feel like just gives you so many options. So actually, I lied. I am going to start with Nectar just because it's almost my skin tone. It's like a peachy version of my skin tone. I don't really know what draping is. Amanda Z talks about blush draping all the time, and I've watched her do it and I'm like, it's beautiful, but I still don't really know what it means. But I just, you know, Lisa Eldridge talks about it like watercolor layering and stuff, and I just kind of think of it from a painter's standpoint, working from a sheer wash up to more of like what I call local color. Local color being the color that the eye perceives. All the other stuff is just kind of supporting actors. So, yes, Nectar. All day long Nectar. Like that's so, so pretty. And I definitely think that that is like a nude for my skin tone that does lean peach. What a nice place to start. It kind of bridges the gap with the bronzer. So the next one that I'm gonna go in with is Petal. This is how much I'm putting on my hand as I'm going. And this really blends out to look just like a powder blush, but I feel like it also adds a really nice blur. It's kind of like the Patrick Ta blush duos where he's got the powder and the cream and you're like, that doesn't seem like it should work. But when you lay the cream on top of the powder, if you just dab it, you know, in a nice way where you're not dragging it across your face, it actually makes for a more skin-like finish. Wow. Okay, so you know what's next. We're going in with Berry because this is beautiful, but the Berry is gonna really bring it together. So this is, again, one of those shades, and I always talk about this when I talk about berry tones. It's one of those shades that, like, yes, it's deep enough that it's gonna show up on just about any skin tone, but if you're pale, don't underestimate your ability to wear a berry shade. Just really, really sheared out, make sure it's really blended, and it comes off very believable. Oh, my chin, my chin. Yeah, so that's not just beautiful, it's also super easy. And I am going to take the brush that I used for my complexion and just do what I typically would do with a cream color, because I hate that like headlights thing, you know, you end up with like the reverse panda, I guess, yeah, a reverse panda, you know, with just the white ring around your eyes. Guys, look at the texture of that blush on my skin. Like I said, when you lay that kind of creamy texture on top of like a mineral powdered face, as long as you dab and don't wipe too much, it gives you a better than skin finish. Also, guess who just ordered an HD camera? Yep, wanted to get it in before the tax year was up. It's a big investment, but you guys are gonna start seeing even more detail on my channel. All right, so that was hilariously easy, right? Now I've got the Rose Glow. This is the regular watercolor liquid cheek color, and Rose Glow is a pinky highlight. So looks like that, and you can see that's very, very different from the cream cheeks that I just showed you that kind of stay put. This is very, very watercolory, as the name suggests. So I'm gonna use that same brush, kind of dab it out like that. And I am such a huge fan of his highlighter texture because it truly looks like editorial photography, where you would look at someone's skin and go, they did that with Photoshop, that's not real, because it doesn't really lay down a whole lot of pigment. Like, yes, the actual shimmer itself has a little tint of rose to it, but I mean, just look at that. It just looks like, it looks like magic. Also, if my shot looks a little bit different, I'm not sure if it does or not, but we used my camera to take my Halloween picture that you guys might have seen on my Instagram. My husband decided that I literally, like while we were still in the hospital, I think, with the baby, he ordered the entire family Scooby-Doo costumes for Halloween. I love that man. I love him for constantly being the fun dad, because I am not that fun. So yeah, those were not two Scooby-Doos. We had Ollie as Scooby-Doo and then Simon was Scrappy. Okay, so he suggests using this kind of like dipping a brush in all of it for your highlighter, and we will do that in a moment, but I want to start by just using this as an eyeshadow first and foremost. And we're going to work first of all just kind of in the tan shades here and get this really, really beautiful eye look going. It's gonna be very easy. Lots of shimmer. And he does actually recommend using this with a wet brush, but I find that it works really well like this too. And then I can wet my brush when we go in with the pink. So actually, I'm gonna take my finger and just spread that on my lid. And I'm just going in with the tannest shade in here and giving myself this really easy one shadow eyeshadow look here. And just kind of blowing that out a little bit. So easy. I like these because even though they're shimmery, they're not giving me this like glittery thing. There's something very classy and tasteful about them. I feel like that's the word I was looking for when I was talking about the highlighter too. It's a tasteful highlight. All right, I'm going to go in with the palest shade here and just use that as my little brow highlight. Inner corner, blendy, blendy. This is effortless, by the way. In case you can't tell, I'm like not the best eyeshadow person, but this is super, super easy. I could definitely see just like doing this on any day to day, because it's just kind of, it's very daytime, but it also really adds something. That is pretty freaking easy. Gonna throw on a brow real quick. All right, so the last thing that we have here before we move into kind of the more wild colors is just a beautiful, long-lasting waterproof eyeliner. This is in the shade Black Velvet, and this is one of the cooler formulas that I have used in a while, just because you do get that spreadability that you would get from like a Wayne Goss Kohl eyeliner, but it's waterproof. So it's like you have a lot of play. I would say you have like 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes as it's drying, and then once it's dry, it's dry. It's very, very waterproof. So I love that because I hate things smudging down my face. I hate kind of like catching myself in the mirror. I mean, who doesn't hate that, right? But like catching yourself in the mirror later on in the day and you see that your makeup has betrayed you. I have zero tolerance for it. So I do love that there is play in this though, because it's creamy, creamy. And then I can just put on a little bit, get it right there in the lash line, and then go in the same way that I would with an eyeshadow and just use an eyeliner brush and spread it where I want it. And you don't have to rush. There's plenty of time. Trying to remember what formula this reminds me of. I feel like there was an eyeliner that I used to use that did this, and it dried down eventually. It couldn't have been Makeup Forever. That one was really, really stiff. Was it MAC? Is the MAC eyeliner formula like this? I really can't remember. You know, guys, there is all of this murmur on the internet right now, and I've been trying to kind of dig through the articles to suss out fact from fiction about whether China is going to change their animal testing requirements in 2021, and apparently that they are, but I don't know if that means that it'll be illegal to do anything except post-market testing, or if it'll just not be required, in which case a lot of people aren't going to change their ways. So if for some reason all of the reputable cruelty-free bloggers come through and they're like, actually guys, it's open season, I'm gonna have several videos on brands that I had been holding back on for so long, because a lot of them, I don't like blame them, you know? I think that NARS, I don't want to vilify them because I do still want to use NARS products someday, but there are definitely lines out there that went to China after the law was changed, or after our laws were changed. And so, you know, they knew that their stuff was going to be tested on animals. But brands like L'Oreal, actually, I think Estee Lauder too, you know, the big conglomerate brands that test on animals, they were in China before cruelty-free was even a thing, I guess is what you would say. And so they didn't pull out of the market. They chose not to pull out of those markets. Either way, do I miss MAC Fix Plus? Yes, I do. And would I buy it again? Absolutely. I do. I miss MAC products. Not all of them, but I would love to try them again. That is the eyeliner. It is in black, which is not always my thing, but obviously there are several shades of this. I feel like this is less a review and more of just like me showing you guys how much I love these products. I kind of came into it with zero mystery. I didn't give you guys any suspense at all. I wasn't like, ooh, are they good? It's like, nah, they're good. Okay, so the finishing touch on this look is just going to be a classic nude lip. I just want to kind of continue with playing it safe before we get into the wild stuff. Wild for me. I have all the Tower 28 lip glosses here in front of me, and I think I'm going to go in with Oat. Really, it just serves as a mixing medium for my khaki lip liner, which will just spread out really nicely. And then it's practically just kind of a milky clear, you know? So this is the initial look. Again, we used 3 out of 4 of the gel cheek colors to achieve this. And I just think that they are so lovely. I used Nectar, Petal, and Berry in that order, and that was how we achieved this. I used the kind of safer shades in this highlight palette to make this eye look, and then we used the black eyeliner. And then I also used Rose Glow, just the beautiful kind of rose gold highlighter situation. Now, we're gonna work on top of this, and we're just going to add a couple of little touches here and there that are going to make this a little bit more like colorful and a little bit more wild. Plus, I just kind of wanna show you guys what these products are capable of, even though this isn't like my everyday look or a lot of people's everyday look. So we have the shade Aqua Velvet, which is this beautiful, like bright sky blue, and it doesn't have any shimmer to it at all. And then we have Green Velvet, which actually does have a tiny bit of a shift to it. Not glitter or anything like that, but a tiny bit of iridescence, and it kind of matches my sweater. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is take Aqua Velvet, and I'm going to just put that on my inner corner here and talk about like instant color impact. And what's cool is I can take this and I can use it as just this solid blue, or as I spread it out, I can layer a little bit of like the shimmery shades on top of it and make it kind of a shimmery blue. But I mean, it's an amazing color, and it has incredible saturation to it, incredible pop to it if that's what you're looking for. I definitely know that there are people who come to my channel who want to see the performance of products, but who definitely use more bright colors in their everyday life than I do. Carolyn, I'm talking to you. And you know, I appreciate you guys still watching my channel, even though I don't play in a lot of wild colors that often. But today It's just a different kind of day. So I'm going to take a little pencil brush. This one is actually from Wayne Goss. This is the 05 from Wayne Goss. And I'm going to just pat that in, get it nice and blended, but you have a lot of control with a brush this shape. And I'm just kind of spreading that up and in onto the lid a tiny, tiny bit. And again, this will go waterproof as soon as it dries. And then I'm going to use this pink right here, and I'm actually going to go in with that same brush, and I am going to wet the brush the way that he recommends. And I'm going to take the pink shade that's in here, I'm going to work that kind of as a gradient on the lid from the blue. And you get this incredibly satisfying pink shimmer. For those of you who might be new to my channel, that's a baby. He always just sits next to me while I film. He's asleep. I'm going to do that kind of on the lower lashes as well. And you end up with this kind of like cotton candy gradient. And y'all know me, the eye look always kind of has to be brought together by the cheeks, and so we are going to go in with some more pink on the cheeks and some more pink on the lips as well. And I'm actually going to go in with a flat brush from Wayne Goss here and continue the gradient onto my lids and blend it into the situation that we already have going. Look at that. It's a lot of fun. And I'll use a little bit more of the pink kind of up here, bring it together. And a touch that might be kind of not that noticeable, but we might as well, is to use the green shade, the green velvet, and just go over the black a little bit. Give it a little pop. Oh yeah, that's noticeable. And these don't have to be used as like wild shades. I would definitely say the blue one. The blue one, you're not going to really be able to get away from it being sort of wild looking. But I think that the green one is just great for, you know, brown eyes. It's got enough color impact to it that it can still like make your lashes look thicker the way that eyeliner is intended to do. But you don't have to always go black. That green is just so awesome. It's like a perfect emerald shade. Okay, so to pull this together and make the eye look a little bit more at home, I think my cheeks are really peach right now. I kind of want to just put a little bit of the shade Pretty on them. Pretty being one of the watercolor shades. And I want to use his watercolor brush for this. He did send this. It's a synthetic brush intended specifically for this formula. And you can just kind of paint that shade on. And now we've got just a little bit of like a bubblegum pink that I feel like pulls the whole thing together. Like I said, you can be completely done with your makeup look and tweak it or alter it completely with blush. I think that's the power of blush. So we've gotten almost everything on my face here. And so I want to top this off with a slightly different lip look. We're gonna go for a pink on the lips. And I'm wondering, will that completely steal the show? This is the Lisa Eldridge, the new one in Beauty. I think it's gonna be just right. That's super pretty. I think I need a wardrobe change. The green sweater just isn't working with this. I'll be right back. I've been waiting to wear this shirt. I bought this shirt from Newworks and it is one of my favorite things. My husband, I was like, I'm gonna terrify you with my new shirt, and he's like, I love it. So yeah, this shirt is really cool. Anyway, yes, For those of you out there who have always wanted me to kind of get outside my comfort zone on some colors, this is me getting outside of my comfort zone on some colors without completely just like bluing myself. I fully understand that this video left absolutely nothing to the imagination as far as whether or not I was going to love these products. It was more so just letting me play with products that I really, really enjoy. So I hope that that came through in this video. I hope that you guys were watching it and you were like, wow, she's having a great time. Quickly, so the big difference between this and this is that you're going to get a more matte, more saturated color value here, whereas these are more watercolor, more of a wash-up color, but both work on both powder and unpowdered looks. I'm pretty sure you can still buy all this stuff off his UK website. I typically shop his stuff on Skin Store just because it's already in US pricing. On Skin Store, the watercolor blushes are $25 to $26.50. I don't really know why they're different, but the color set that I bought the first time for my initial video, which I will link below, is $66 for 4 of them, a fantastic deal. The watercolor gel cheek colors are $27.50, again, 20% off on Skin Store. And then his eyeliners, as well as this little palette right here, which I'm absolutely in love with, I believe are only on his UK website, but obviously they ship to the US. So the eyeliner, like I said, I think that the big advantage is that they do have a workability that goes to a completely waterproof dry down. So they are like the be all end all formula for a waterproof eyeliner, which is so, so great. I think that that is the thing that I found a little bit frustrating about some of the eyeliners that I have loved lately. The Wayne Goss, the Victoria Beckham, yes, they're beautiful and workable, but they still kind of start to like smudge down on my eyes and stuff over the course of the day because I do have really deep set eyes. Sometimes my eyes are kind of watery. These aren't going to do that. They stay put. They also come in bright, vibrant shades as well as very safe shades, the ones that I would typically use. I forgot, I was going to swirl all of these together and highlight my cheeks for you guys. There we go. A very, very practical highlighter. Even though, you know, it's got that pink shade and everything, there's nothing about that that says avant-garde. It's just beautiful. So yes, while I appreciate and love the things that he sent, I really like the eyeliner and I really, really like this little palette right here. I think that this might be my new favorite highlighter, honestly. Obviously the star of the show is always going to be his cheek products. These are just ingenious. The formulas are really, really cool. And I think that once I tried this, I was like, well, what's the point of this? You know, why would you need 2 different formulas? Because they're very, very different. This is the gel, this is the watercolor. Do you see that? So you end up with this very, very thin, beautiful, little goes a long way situation there. And this one, the gel, goes to a matte a lot sooner. You see? And you can just kind of imagine the different use cases, but honestly, I don't think that you can go wrong. Just be mindful of which ones are shimmery and which ones aren't, if that's kind of something that's really important to you with a blush. All the watercolor gel cheek colors, none of these have any shimmer to them. They're all just kind of matte, just a regular pigment. And then the watercolor liquid cheek colors, the originals, they all have different textures to them. So some of them are going to be just a regular color with no shimmer. Some of them have shimmer and are blush, and then some of them are like a highlighter. And he also has different shades of highlighter for different skin tones. Just incredibly well informed. 100% fun to use, and for the price, especially if you go on his website or on Skin Store and you bundle, they are very, very cost effective. So I hope that you guys enjoyed watching me play with all of this makeup today. If you've tried these, let me know down below which ones are your favorites. If not, let me know which ones you want to try. If you did enjoy this and found it at all valuable, or at least a lot of fun, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. The next video, if everything goes according to plan, is going to be my gigantic Sephora sale haul video. Things changed after I filmed that last video, which was my recommendations and my wish list. All of those things still stand, but I ended up buying so much more stuff from the sale than I initially expected to, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys and try it all for you. I have lots of videos planned, so thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.